All right, guys, welcome to our third video of our series of the week. In the last video, we talked about sites. So I do want to make sure that. So typically when you use the site, you're using it on a certain word and you're using it with a site tag. And so, for instance, if I would have used site with Independence Day and I would have done a closing site, then it would have made the word Independence Day italic, which is what I was looking for. However, when you're using it with a block quote, that whole entire section is just a block quote, and your site is really just saying, hey, browser, I'm citing this reference comes from, in our case, google.com. So you're not going to see any type of formatting happen with that. So I want to clear that up in this video for that. So now what we're going to do in this video is we're going to go over images, background images, and links. So we're going to start off with links. So let's suppose, note we did the block quote up here for google.com, but what if we wanted this to be a link? So before we get started, you guys, I know you've all searched the web and you know that pretty much the website is, without links, a website would not even be what it is today. The links link you to different parts of the internal web page and also link you to different parts of external web pages, which are when we talked about those absolute URLs. And that's just a site that takes you outside of your own site into someone else's site that's housed on a totally different server and a totally different folder and things like that. So the links allows us to go from place to place, which is the whole purpose and the coolness of being on the web. HTML links are considered hyperlinks. That just means that you can click on a link, jump from one document to another. When you hover over the mouse, it'll turn into a little hand unless you changed it, because you can make those changes in CSS into something else. But regardless, when you hover over something, some type of action happens to let you know that you've hovered. Also, links don't have to be text. They can be images or any other HTML element can be a link. The tag for link is the A tag. However, the A tag cannot stand alone, as we'll see in a second. So let's say we wanted to make American Revolution. This is the one, the sea green. Actually, I want to go where it's large. So we'll go down here. We want to make Congress, or we want to make Declaration of Independence a link. So if the link is an A tag, and we put an A tag, and we bring this to the end, Declaration of Independence, we save this, and we go over to our browser, and we grab it, and we know that we happen to know it's in the large area. We hit refresh. Notice nothing happened. And we wanted, what we were trying to have happen was Declaration of, where's Declaration of Independence? Here. Okay, we were trying to have is Declaration of Independence. We wanted that to be a link. So a link tag cannot stand by itself. A link tag needs something to extend the functionality of that tag. We all know what extends the functionality of a tag, don't we? We do. We know that it is an attribute. Yes. So we want to extend the functionality of this tag. So what we're going to have to do is tell this link to go somewhere, because it is linked. We did tell it to be a link, but it doesn't know what we want it to do next. So what we need to do is give it an href tag, or href attribute. And href is a reference, right? And it's a hyperlink. So it's going to reference it to somewhere. So if we go here into where we have our A tag, we hit the space, we said attribute. So we already know that its attribute name is href. And we know that equal quote, quote, right? So it's going to be that equal quote, quote. So let's say we want Declaration of Independence to link to, I don't know, I'm going to continue using Google, guys, because that's just what I know that always works. So https://www.google.com. Okay, so I have my href, I have my A tag, I have my open and close A tag, so I can hit save, right? And what we should have is a link. But let's test that theory. Let's bring this over here. And let's hit refresh. Check it out, guys. We have a link. And if we click on this, it's going to take us to google.com. Awesome. Now, notice that took over our page. We do not want that to happen. So we're going to prevent that as well. But we'll get to that in just a moment. So that really is how you do links. You have several links that you can do. You guys can read through that. You have unvisited links, visit links, active links. Unvisited links means the link that, of course, you haven't gone to before, and you can set a color for that. Visit, and there are default colors that are set. So the default color for an unvisited link is blue. The default color for a visit link is purple. I visit Google all the time, which is why my link was purple. And the default for an active link is red. So unvisited link is blue, as you guys have seen, I'm sure. Visited is purple and active is red. And we can make all those changes to that if we want to. We're not bound. You can't stop us. But as we saw, our link opened up and it took over our site. And that's not what you want to do. You want the viewer to always stay on your site, especially if they're going to an absolute link, meaning a link that is somewhere else. So again, if they clicked on this link, see how it takes over? It becomes google.com. Our site isn't here. What we want to happen is we want them to click on it and to open a new tab. So in order to do that, we have to add something to it. So we have to add targets to it. And there are 4 targets. There's the default, which is the self, which we saw, which is where it just pretty much opens in the same tab, right? And the viewer has to hit back in order to go back, which is annoying. What we're going for is blank, and that means that it opens in a new window or a new tab. There's also parent, which opens it in a parent frame. And then there's top, which opens the document in a full body window, like a brand new window. But typically, we're going to want blank. So the way that we're going to do that is we're going to add the target attribute. And if it's an attribute, you guys already know that an attribute is that attribute name equals quote, quote. So let's go ahead and do that inside of our link for google.com right after this attribute, making sure we're outside of the, that was weird. What just happened? Hang on. Space. Oh, okay. It's just put me down another. So making sure we're outside of the quotes, we're going to add the target attribute. So target equals quote, quote. Notice how it has the blank because it really is just underscore blank for us. Okay. So I'm going to hit that. So the target equals quote underscore blank quote. Save that. Now when we go back to our page and we click on that link, I hit refresh. Now when we click on it, notice our page is still here, our tab is still here, and it opened a new window, and now we're at Google. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Super easy, super awesome, and we are awesome. Okay, so now we'll talk relative URLs versus absolute URLs. Absolute URL is exactly what we just did. That's where we have the absolute. That means, so the difference in this is like the post office, right? When they deliver to your home address, it is, or they deliver to another address, it is totally away from your home. They need the full address of where you live in order to be able to deliver your mail. Same here. It needs the full address. It needs to know what protocol. So we have the HTTPS. It needs to know what domain, www.google.com. It needs to know the exact address to go to because this sits on another server. Now we have relative URLs, and with relative URLs, that just means that that's inside of your site. So no need for www, no need for HTTPS. We could just say, index.html, and that's where it's going to go, or contact.html, because they are housed inside of your site, inside of your local root folder, which we're going to talk about that as well. And so they're housed inside of your site. All right. So speaking of that, though, let me see. Yep, I have it. Okay. So this is our local root folder that we created last week, right? It was our first web page. I'm going to double click in there. And what I created this week was another root folder. So from now on, when we create our root folders, we need it to say, so this one says Independence Day. And notice I have a camel case because we're professionals. So we want to make sure that we have no spaces. The way that you can do multiple words are three ways. You can do what's called camel casing, which is what I'm doing, where I have Independence Day lowercase, and then every other word is uppercase. So Independence Day, if I had Independence Day dream, then it'll be Independence, capital D for day, and then capital D for dream. So each new word would get an uppercase. That's called camel casing. The other way is to use dashes. Okay, so it'll be Independence dash day. And the other way is to use underscores, where it's Independence underscore day. However, it is better to use dashes than underscores, just because some servers are going to read this as they'll read the dash and know that it's word to word. Underscore kind of separates continuous groups of words into a different category. So, for instance, I have Independence Day camel case, but then I have underscore LRF. So you do need the underscore LRF. That's going to be part of our naming convention. The underscore LRF stands for local root folder. Okay. And that's what we're creating, our local root folder. Okay. So LRF is local root folder. So it'll be Independence Day. So for you guys, it'd be, I think, Labor Day, whatever you're going to name your site. But if it is Labor Day, then lowercase L, and then camel case or uppercase D or the dashes or whatever way makes you happy, go for it. All right, so I'm going to, but just make sure you have that underscore LRF at the end. So I'm going to go into the folder, and inside the folder, I have my images, and I have this index.html file. And as you guys will see, the more the weeks come, you're going to see more folders added to this, like a styles folder and stuff like that. But this is your local root folder. All right, I just want to show you that real quick. Let me go back to the page. All right, so that's our links. But also there was another reason I was showing you that. So if we were linking, let's say we had other pages, this will be our relative URL, because it's just index.html. So if we're linking to that, index.html. If we were linking to the images, it would be images and then 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever our images names are. So, all right. So that's the other thing I want to show you. All right, let me go back. Okay. All right, and if we were to do an email link, let's say down here at the bottom, let me move this paragraph tag up. All right, so down here at the bottom, let's say we want to say contact us. Okay. All right, so let's say I didn't want to put an email address in here. I just want them to contact us. So the way we're going to do this is put a link in here. We know that the link is A. We need to reference this, right? Because it can't sit by itself. So we need to give it an attribute. So let's go with href. And then we know some attributes of the equal, quote, quote. And because I don't want to forget my, closing bracket, I'm going to put that here. And then I'm going to take this A, right? Because contact us is what I want to be linked. So I'm going to put it here. So right now, I don't have it linking anywhere. I just have the link set up. So I have my A, which says, hey, this is the link. My href attribute, which says, hey, I needed to reference here, but I didn't put anything in there yet. Just reference here. Contact us is what I want to be linked because it's in between the open and the close link tag. So this whole thing is the link attribute from the start tag to the end tag. It's the link attribute. So now I'll start to tell it, hey, this is where I want it to go. So to do email, it is just mail to. Do not do email to. Back in the day, like I said, it used to be that. It is not anymore. It is just mail to. That's it. So mail to : and I'll just say me at google.com. I should have did Apple since Apple has the me.com. All right, so me at google.com. So I've just made an email link. So if I save this and I go to refresh our page, we scroll all the way down the bottom so we can see. We should see this contact us link. And if you click on it, if you hover over it, you'll see the mail to me at google.com. If you do this right, it's going to come out. So as long as you have just mail to, you should be good. I hit return. It's going to try to open up the, it's opening up another, yep. So it's going to open up your email, whatever you use to do your emails. It's going to open that up. I'm going to move that over. All right, so cool. All right, so we got our, let me put that up here. Working out of these multiple screens. It's awesome sometimes, and sometimes not. All right, and then you can have a button as a link as well. Let's say you wanted to set up a button. I'm not going to make it a link. I'm just going to make it a button just to show you. So we have these button tags here. And let's say I want to say push. This is just for push this button. Okay. Just want to show you what happens. Okay. I'm going to save that. We'll go over here to our Independence Day. Make sure we're at the bottom. We'll refresh. And you're going to see a button that comes up that says push this button. And you can, you're free to style this later on, especially when we get into CSS. But I just wanted to show you that you can do the button. And if you wanted to make it a link, you could do pretty much the same things for adding a link to it. You could also add some JavaScript to it and things like that. But right now, that satisfies what I want. You don't have to have a button in yours. I just wanted to show you that that you do have that option. All right, so you can also you can use the title attribute to set up links as well. So so what the title does is it gives you kind of like a tool link. So we had title up here, which is the title that's really just talking to the browser. That's what that one does. So that one's not seen. But there is a title attribute that you can put on something. And if you hover over it, it's gonna, let me just do it. Let's do Congress. Let's do US Congress. There you go. All right. So we'll add a title attribute to, I want to add it to that. Yeah, we'll add a title attribute to, wait, I had a link somewhere. I thought I had a regular link. No, we'll just make this a link. All right. So A, right? And then we got to extend the, I was not over here where I was supposed to be. Hang on. Let me get my mouse back. Give me a mouse. Okay. All right. So we just add a link here. So A, we have to extend the functionality of that title. So we'll do href. We'll do https : www.yahoo.com. And then right after that, we'll close that one. And then, so notice, so I set up the link here. And when I end this, that's where that element is going to end. So anything I put inside of here, if I stopped it here, then it would be US that was linked. If I stop it here, then it's going to be US Congress. And I'm going to stop it here. So we'll stop it here for US Congress. So US Congress will be what gets highlighted. All right. So if I wanted to extend the functionality of this, I can add a title here. So I can go inside of this tag, because anytime you extend the functionality, it's going to be inside of the tag. And then I'll just type title. And that, the attribute is the equal quote, visit our website. So visit our website. I've extended the functionality. Let me go ahead and save this. Let's go make sure we're in there toward the bottom. Okay. Let's make sure we're at the bottom. Hit refresh. We should see U.S. Congress has become a link. And because I do on Yahoo, it's purple. But Congress has become a link. Notice this one is blue because I haven't visited it. Ha. All right. So U.S. Congress, let's double click on that, or let's click on that. And it's taking us to Yahoo. Okay. So our link works. But what the title attribute does is if we hover over it, then we should see, notice that tooltip at the bottom in gray that says visit our website. So that's what the title attribute that we just created does, is it kind of gives you a little pop-up. So I know you've gone to sites where you've hovered over it and the little pop-ups come up. They're doing the title attributes to make that happen. All right, so I think that's it for links. If we wanted to color these, which I actually color using CSS, but we do have the options of changing the colors, but since we're not in CSS yet, I don't want us to do that. So for this one, I'm going to end this video here, just so that it doesn't go super long. So this video, this video is mostly talking about links. In our next video, we'll go over images, and hopefully we can do both images and background images in the same one. If not, we'll just have another video. All right, so I will see you guys in the next video.